Hi guys, welcome to Praise Divine Bible Study. My name is Praise, and thank you guys for joining us today. I'm so thrilled to have you all with me. In this session, we're going to be treating the book of First King, chapter 2, and let's dive right in. Now, we're going to treat from verse 1 to verse 4. In verse 1 to verse 4, this is David advising his son Solomon of how to preserve his kingdom. And David basically was telling Solomon the only way he can preserve his kingdom is to walk in God's way and to make God the center of his life and his personal and government life. Now, in the book of 2 Samuel, chapter 7, God had promised David that him and his descendants they're going to be kings forever only if they obey him and honor him. As we can see in chapter 4, it says that the Lord may continue his word which is packed concerning me, saying, if thy children take it to thy way to walk before me in truth with all their heart and with all their souls, they shall not fail thee, said he, a man on the throne of Israel. So that was what basically this part was talking about. Now we're going to move from verse 5 to verse 7. Now this is when King David was reminding Solomon of what Jeroboam had done to him, and he said he wants justice for that. Now later on in the chapter, we're going to understand what Jeroboam did and why King David wanted justice, because he couldn't do anything. So you want his son Solomon to to provide justice, to give justice on his own behalf, right? So yeah. Now verse 10 and 11. This is when David died and was buried in the city of David. And verse 11, and the days that David reigned over Israel was 40 years. 7 years he reigned in Hebron, and 33 years he reigned in Jerusalem. So we're going to treat from verse 12 to verse 21. And then verse 13 it says, Adonijah the son of Haggai came to Bathsheba the mother of Solomon and said, come down peacefully. So basically, from verse 13 to verse 21, Adonijah went to meet Bathsheba, the mother of Solomon, and was telling Bathsheba to tell Solomon to allow him to marry Abishag. Now, I'm just going to take us a little bit back to chapter 1. If we remember in chapter 1, when King David was sick, and then he was advised to take on a virgin. So Abishag was the virgin. Now, in chapter 1, it says King David knew her not. There was no sexual relation. She's still a virgin. Right? So then Adonijah is here telling Bathsheba to tell Solomon that he wants her. He wants to take over her. Now, Bathsheba has gone to meet Solomon, and I told Solomon what Adonijah had said, and I was like, okay, you know what? Let Adonijah take charge. Marry Abishag. Now, King Solomon was then angry because Abishag is still part of David's harem, and getting a possession of a king's harem is equivalent to getting possession of the throne. So basically, Adonijah is chewing more than he can bite. Now, if you remember in chapter 1, Solomon has spared his life when he wanted to take over the throne forcefully, and it was not successful. Then Solomon, he went to the altar, right? And then Solomon has spared his life. Now, this is him coming back after Solomon sparing his life and saying he wants to take over Abishag. And then King Solomon was angry at this point, and King Solomon was like, I can't spare life anymore, then you have to die. And this is how he met his end, and this is how Adonijah died. And so basically, that was just verse 22 to verse 25 was talking about how Adonijah died, basically. And then once we go to verse 26 to verse 35, now, verse 25, again, in chapter 1, there were certain people that they conspired to take the throne forcefully. Adonijah, when he wanted to take over the throne, he gathered some men, the priests, he gathered all of them to take over the throne. Since it wasn't successful, now King Solomon is executing them. Except for the priest, Abiathar, he didn't kill the priest, but the priest lost his job. You understand? And then again, the priest of Judah. So the priest during Saul's reign, he was the only one that was spared, right? And then since then, he became the priest for King David, and he has been loyal to King David. But when Adonijah wanted to take over the throne, he thought Adonijah was going to be the king, so they went with him, right? And then since it wasn't successful, they're basically all the conspirators were all dying in the hands of King King Solomon. If you remember in verse 5 when David was telling Solomon what Joab did, so now in David has tried to replace Joab a couple of times, like 2 times, and then for every time he has tried to replace Joab, then Joab killed his rivals before they could assume command. Now at this time, he made David to be responsible for a lot of senseless death, and then due to like some political reasons, David could not publicly do anything to Joab. Now that is why that is why King David was telling Solomon, to be wise about it and then to get justice. So basically now Solomon punishment to Joab was just to defend that David was not part, that King David was innocent and was not part of Joab's crimes. Now if we go to verse 36 to verse 46, basically this is and then the King Solomon sent and called for Shimei and said unto him, build thee an house in Jerusalem and dwell there, and go not forth thence any whither. And it says the day that he leaves is the day he's going to die. And then if we see in verse 40, this is when Shimei arose and started his ass and went to Gath to Achik to seek his servant, and Shimei went and brought his servant from Gath. And then Solomon was told about this, and then Solomon went and they called Shimon and said, did I not tell you that any day you live here you're going to die and all that? And then this is how Shimei, this is how he died. So basically that's the end of chapter 2. But there are some things that really stood out to me. First I need to talk about the nerves of Adonijah, the fact that he was spared and he still came back. It's just like, what are the main themes in the book of chapter 2? Basically it's justice, obedience, kindness, yeah. So guys, this is the end of Second King. Oh my God, this is the end of First. So guys, the end of First Kings chapter 2. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think. If you have any questions and what is your own view about this. Thank you guys. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, follow, share, comment. Thank you guys. God bless you, and I'll see you in my next section. Bye.